Morning, everybody. We'll be a couple minutes while we wait for the students to get into their seats, but thanks for joining us. Just quick technical note, when a video starts, if you hover your mouse over the screen the video is playing on, you'll have to turn the sound on. It'll be on the bottom left, a little microphone or a little speaker icon. So whenever a video starts, turn that on. There also is a Q&A feature. So if you look on your screen, there's a Q&A box. Any questions you have during the presentation, type them in there, and we will ask them at the end of the slideshow. We'll start in about 3 minutes. So again, just so everybody knows, we're going to start in a couple of minutes, but as you're looking at the video screen, when a video starts, you'll have to hover over the screen and turn the sound on. The pin icon on the bottom left side of the screen. Just click on that. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Paul Miller, president of the Northwest Florida Manufacturers Council. Northwest Florida is known for its collaborations. The council, along with Florida Makes, the Economic Development Council of Okaloosa County, and the Okaloosa County School System, work closely with area businesses to ensure that the community has all the resources we need to remain strong in the future. We all agree the students and teachers who are hard at work learning the skills needed to compete are the crucial resource for our businesses. Fort Walton Machining, winner of the Florida Governor's Sterling Award this year, and a founding member of the council, is an essential resource for you, combining all the pieces you're learning about right here in your neighborhood. If you'd like to hear more from companies like Fort Walton Machining, please visit our website, NWFMC.org, and let me know which companies in the council can help you put some context into your curriculum. At the end of the presentation, there will be a brief survey. Please fill this out so that our partners at FLATE can improve our abilities to serve your needs. I want to thank the team at Florida Makes, a network of regional manufacturing associations like NWFMC, for providing the tools and people to put this all together. As always, Florida Makes is here for Florida manufacturers. To learn more about them and how they can help you, go to floridamakes.com. Now for a quick technical note, you'll notice that there are icons across the bottom of your screen. The plant tour console is interactive and you're able to minimize and maximize different aspects of your screen. The video and slides will be playing in the slides area, and the presenter webcams are visible in the media player. You'll need to turn the volume up in the slides box to hear the video. The Q&A box is in the middle above the other icons. You can submit questions to the presenters there. To get us started, here's a video from Linda Sumlin, TechMen Manager, followed by April Branscombe, Director of Career and Technical Education. Here's Linda.
Good morning. I'm April Branscombe with the Career and Technical Education Department with Oakland County School District, and on behalf of Marcus Chambers, our superintendent, who was called, unfortunately was called away this morning and couldn't make it to be with us this morning. I want to thank Northwest Florida Manufacturing Council as well as Football Beach Machining for allowing us to participate in this unique virtual tour, which is pretty cool for our students to be able to see what's happening in our area. The Okaloosa County School District, we have our advanced manufacturing program at the Northwest Florida State College campus, as well as we have an 8th grade program at Pryor Middle School, where our middle school 8th grade students are earning high school credit in the manufacturing program, so they get to start out early. We are preparing our students to be the next generation of workers in the manufacturing industry, to be either technicians or engineers in our area. And hopefully we are going to teach you here so you'll stay here. We have a successful program, as I mentioned. We partner with Northwest Florida State College, where we bring 4 schools together, Football Beach High School, Choctawhatchee High School, Crestview High School, and Niceville High School, and we bus our students to that campus, and they get to learn on the campus, and they have access to the manufacturing equipment at the college. Our students are learning their MSSC CPT certifications as well as SolidWorks, and they're doing the SolidWorks certification also at the middle school level. So we are working to train our students so they can explore the array of manufacturing jobs in the career field. And we look at advanced manufacturing not as what we used to think of it as a dirty job. We look at it as opportunities in IT, engineering, design and marketing, and as well as the manufacturing field. So this program provides our students with a lot of opportunities to learn skills and trade that a regular classroom does not provide for our students. So we're really excited and really thankful for the opportunity to be partners with Walton Machining, and we appreciate the support of Northwest Florida Manufacturing Council as well as Florida Make. So we want to thank you again for allowing us to participate in this virtual tour.
Good morning. My name is Tim McDonald. I'm the Director of Operations here at Walton Machining. We're sure glad to have all the students from Okaloosa County and all around to join us. I'll be running through some slides, kind of giving you a general overview of our manufacturing facilities, and then we'll go into a question and answer session. And I've got several of our employees, many of them are apprentices, started off in the company. So please feel free to ask all the questions you would like. So we are Team 4 Walton Machining. We do have two facilities. On the left, you're seeing our 65,000 square foot manufacturing facility, which we are actually currently adding 2,500 square feet of facility to this building. And on the right, you're seeing our metal finishing division, which makes up the balance for a total of 109,000 square feet combined. We are a woman-owned small business, and I'll get into that in a minute, what significance that means to our business. Next slide. Basically, a general overview, founded in 1987. We are a woman-owned small business. What that means is we get special set-asides from the U.S. government for small business contracting. We are currently 160 plus employees, multi-shift operation, 107,000 square feet, about to be 109,000 square feet. Some of our quality certifications include AS 9100 Rev D, which is an aerospace standard, and ISO 9001 2015 lean manufacturing, basically developing our processes and making sure we're performing our job to those processes and then doing frequent audits. We hold 3 NADCAP accreditations, which are specific accreditations for aerospace, defense, manufacturing, welding, non-destructive testing, and then chemical processing. We do have a whole host of software, some of the software being Dassault CATIA for design and CAM activities, and then Smart Team, just to name a few, for our configuration management system. We are a full service contract manufacturer, manageable growth 5 to 10% a year. Next slide. Some of our high level customers, some of you might very well know these. For instance, Boeing, Lockheed Martin. You'll see in the bottom right, Walt Disney World. We actually build parts for Walt Disney World. Some of the ones you might not know of is DRS, which is here locally in Okaloosa County as well. R4 Integration, another local engineering firm, absolutely outstanding firm. And then we are also heavily in the space with Jeff Bezos' space company, Blue Origin. Next slide. Some of our high-level awards, obviously, this year we were the 2020 bronze winner of the Sterling Award. But some of the highlights I like to point out is 2008 Boeing Supplier of the Year and 2010 Lockheed Martin Supplier of the Year. You got to realize that Boeing and Lockheed has a database of over 30,000 suppliers. So to be selected out of 30,000 absolutely outstanding organizations was a real treat. So next slide. Capabilities. So we are what we call a build-to-print complex manufacturing company. We don't engineer anything. We basically take engineering and we build to that engineering. We also do a lot of multi-part assemblies, flooring systems for helicopters, ammunition racks, stuff like that. We do have a chemical processing facility, which is an internal process, which is really unique from machine shops. Typically, they wouldn't have that kind of capability as well, but that just helps with our ability to perform with our customers. Most of what we do is short-run production, but we also have several contracts for long-run production. Obsolescence, replacement engineering. So older aircraft, say like the C-130 designed in the 50s or 60s, where the engineering might have been lost, we'll take a component off an aircraft, actually reverse engineer and actually produce a product. We do modifications and repairs. A lot of that has to do with our local defense customers, Herbert Field and Eglin Air Force Base. Aging aircraft support, much as well as the obsolescence engineering. Prototype development, which we'll get into. We're heavily into some prototype development, our own product line development, and then rapid response capability for the warfighter. As you know, if you have an aircraft that is needed in the theater of war and it needs some type of rapid response to get it operational, we're the guys you come to see. Next slide. We have state-of-the-art equipment, CNC machining centers. We have over 19 5-axis. For those of you who might not understand the acronym CNC, it stands for Computer Numeric Controls. One of our CNC machinists is in here with us, and he'll explain a little bit more about that. We do 3, 4, 5-axis machining. We also do CNC turning, CNC EDM, electric discharge machining, and then CNC abrasive water jet for sheet metal fabrication. We do have conventional milling, turning, and grinding equipment, which what you would probably think of as back in the Industrial Revolution, that type of equipment. Laser marking, sheet metal fabrication, welding, metal finishing, prime and painting, chemical processing, non-destructive testing, one of them being penetrant testing and mag particle testing, RFID capabilities. We have a fully equipped inspection lab, which we have our manager of that inspection lab in here, and then a whole host of CAD and CAM softwares, Mastercam, CATIA, just to name a few. Next slide, please. Our quality assurance lab, obviously, the products that we build are life-saving products at most times, so we have to make sure they are the best quality that our customers deserve. So we do things like advanced product quality planning. A CMM, which is a coordinate measuring machine, would be used to measure a part based off model-based definition, which I know many of the students in SolidWorks are already learning. We do offline CMM programming. PCDMIS is the software that we use to run our CMMs, and then Visual Fair for our first article inspection forms. So you can see the amount of software it takes, not just the machines, but the software platforms needed to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish for our customer and ultimately the warfighter. Next slide. Just some pictures of our quality assurance lab. Next slide, please. Flight critical hardware. What does flight critical hardware mean? Typically what that means is in flight, if a piece of our hardware breaks, there are lives in jeopardy, could cause a major damage to an aircraft, or ultimately, and hopefully not, could cost lives in a crash. So we take those components very, very seriously. Actually, what you're seeing in these pictures are actually components that went into a telescope that is currently in low Earth orbit. So obviously, that being a very critical component, everything has to be 100% inspected. It has to be perfect, absolutely perfect. Next slide. Just some examples of some CNC machining, computer numeric controlled. You can see some 5-axis machining. Next slide. CNC turning, which is basically a lathe that'll take round stock and turn it down into various round shapes. Next slide. Wire EDM machining, electric discharge machining. You can see in the right picture, that's a penny, and that's actually a titanium flexor coupling that's for space application. So you can see kind of the size of the parts and how small we can get with a machine like an EDM. Next slide. Sheet metal fabrication. We do brake forming, which is doing simple single bends in sheet metal. Sheet metal rolling, which is basically what it sounds like, taking a flat piece of sheet metal, putting it through a roller, and ultimately making a contour of some sort. And then water jet cutting, which is basically using high pressure water with a mixture of sand that will penetrate metal, and it'll cut shapes in a 2-dimensional format. Next slide. Our assembly capabilities. It ranges from little small aircraft components down in the middle. You're seeing a bracket that will go on an F-16 down to the bottom right. That's actually a medical component that goes into making contact lenses, or even in the top left picture, that's actually a lock for the main engine thruster for the space shuttle, obviously, which has been retired, but that is a main engine thruster lock that is on the shuttle before launch. Obviously, it's taken off before launch as well. Next slide. Commercial items. So on the right is actually a firearm components. We don't do a lot of firearm manufacturing here, but we do a little bit. On the left here, that's actually for a Huey helicopter. If you were to go out to Northwest Florida or Okaloosa Regional Airport here, there's a Huey outside. You can actually see that particular component on the top of the rotor. And in the middle, which might be more applicable for our students here in attendance, If anybody's ever been to Walt Disney World, and I know I've been more than enough, that is actually the seat belt that holds you in on the Tower of Terror. The Tower of Terror being the one that brings you up and then drops you in a free fall. You can imagine that's a very critical component. You can see the vast range of what we do: helicopters, amusement rides, firearms. From a standpoint of manufacturing, the vastness of the industries that you serve is very wide. You just don't get stuck in building one thing. You build anything that you can imagine. You put on paper, we can manufacture. Next slide. Assembly, special projects. On the top left, you're seeing what is the floor system for the CH-47 Chinook helicopter. Same thing to the right picture. On the bottom left, that is an ammunition rack that goes on the 105 millimeter howitzer cannon that sticks outside of an AC-130. That particular assembly has over 1,000 components that go into it, ultimately holding 80 rounds of 105 millimeter shells. So you can see the range of airframe components, which is the flooring systems, or munitions components, which you're seeing on the ammunition rack. Next slide. Metal finishing is a complement to our manufacturing capability. So once we machine a component or turn a component, we send it over to our metal finishing division, which is by the mall in the industrial park, right across the street from our good friends Mag Aerospace. If you're watching, hello. You can see once we take that raw aluminum part, we'll put it through a series of chemical processes, which is dipping it through an acid bath to give us some chemical corrosion protection. And then we'll go over to our paint line, and we'll give it a coat of primer or a coat of top coat, or whatever our customers' requirements are. Another complement to that is non-destructive testing. Fluorescent penetrant inspection and magnetic particle inspection are basically a process that checks parts for cracks. Obviously, if a component is going on an aircraft, you don't want it to be cracked when it goes on that aircraft. So those type of functions support the manufacturing over here, but it's just as critical, if not even more critical, to the safety of the items that we put in our warfighters' hands. Next slide. You're getting some pictures of our non-destructive testing. To be a certified non-destructive tester, you have to go through years and years of training and external certification. We cannot internally certify our own non-destructive tester. He has to go out and get a separate certification, either from NADCAP or an accredited facility. So being in non-destructive testing is almost more of a highly demanded skill set in the country than machinists, because it is an absolutely critical process as well. So, next slide, please. That's the end. This is our contact information. And if I encourage you, any one of you, students and teachers alike, if you ever want, once we get past COVID-19 and it's safe, I welcome anybody to come in and we'll do a tour. As we know, April and many of the Okaloosa County School District folks have been on our facility and welcome you guys anytime. So thank you very much, and we will open it up for Q&A. Before we do that, I'd like to introduce the three individuals in the room. To my right here, we have Crystal Butterworth. She is in production control. Also to my right is Matt Elder. He is a lead CNC 5-axis machining. And to my left here is Matt Collins, who is our quality manager as well. So I ask that they be open and honest, tell them their experience on how they started, and then we'll get into the Q&A. So Ms. Butterworth?
Hi, I'm Crystal. I pretty much started as data entry and document control, moved up to contracts, and I'm currently in production control. So I work as a support function, so you'll see a lot of things about machines. I don't work with the parts necessarily. I manage from the time we get the purchase order till it goes out the floor. I manage the planning process to make sure that we have the plan in time, to make sure that the material is here on time. Any outside processing, and then the division across the town at MFD kind of help with what because the end goal for production control is to send a quality product and then on time as well. So I support the floor, but I don't handle parts per se.
There's a lot that goes into making a part, not just the actual production of the part, but those support functions are absolutely critical in the process. And Crystal really is the center focus of making sure that everybody's got what they need to do their job and ultimately deliver a quality product to our customer in an on-time fashion. Matt?
So my name is Matthew Elder. I started I actually worked construction before this, and I was lucky enough to be accepted into the apprenticeship program here at Walton Machining. My very first step in the door was working simply with grinding tools or pneumatic sanders. I was there for maybe 3 weeks or so, quickly advanced through that, and then I went and worked into the quality lab where I learned how to read prints more thoroughly, use calipers, micrometers, height stands, indicators. After spending about a month and a half, I believe it was, through there, I went to my first department where I actually cut metal, and that was the manual mills department, where I learned how to use machines like knee mills, or Bridgeports as you would also call them, manual lathes, collet lathes, engine lathes, all the way down to install or match drilling panels for things like the crash seats that we used to build. I really learned how the material is removed from certain metals in that department. Learned very unique skill set there. After proving myself in that part of the shop for about 7 months or so, I was moved up to the CNC mills department, where I was thankful enough or lucky enough to work with some of the best machinists here at Walton Machining. Spent a good year and a half on the floor, proving myself there, really learning some very unique and powerful machines. Really took a strong interest in it, which now has advanced me to be a CNC lead machinist, where I'm doing everything from not only running machines, but also programming machines, scheduling machines, working with people like Crystal Butterworth on getting parts really flowing through the shop, and also coming up with new revolutionary ways to machine parts faster.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Collins?
Hey guys, let me start off by saying I'm much better at checking parts than I am doing a speaking thing like this, so you'll just have to bear with me. I started over at the other shop as a chem line inspector. I did chem film, anodize, prime and paint. I guess after about 2 years of that, I moved over to this building. I actually worked a third shift, weekend shift that we had, which was kind of cool to get to do some school at the time. Over here, I was checking parts, pretty much anything that we've been over that we make. I was checking it all, and I just kind of worked my way up on the CMM, even in paperwork, AS 9102, we have to do first articles for basically every customer. So yeah, just worked my way up. Now the supervisor, I oversee scheduling of the parts that are coming through the lab. Recently, we've been doing some quoting, just trying to make sure we have our times right, where we hit the budgets that we set. That's really all I can think of.
Matt, how long have you worked here? Matt,
I've been here just about 8 years now.
Matt Elder?
Been here about 5.5 years.
Crystal?
8.
Well, I want to point out something, that every one of these people who speak came in with no experience, and within a matter of 5 years, 8 years, have developed themselves all the way up to managers. That is a testament to their ability to adapt to the environment, to be leaders. In the video, it mentioned about spark, and when we interviewed these folks, we instantly noticed this spark in these people. We can teach you everything you need to know. We have the best equipment, the best technology here at Fort Walton Machining, but it's about the work ethic. It's about being part of something greater than yourself. And these folks are representative of that every single day, and I couldn't be more proud of them. So with that, we'll open it up to questions. Mr. Miller?
Thank you so much to all of you for that. That's really, I think, exactly what our students want to know is and this is the first question I think talks to that. When you first start, how do you see what possibilities for advancement there are And how do you know you're doing well and moving toward your goals?
Matt, I'll let you.
Well, whenever I came into the industry, I honestly didn't have much confidence in myself, I would say, even though I thrived pretty well in my previous careers in construction. But the shop and the people that worked around me were really good at letting me know that I was doing a good job. And the advancement opportunity that I was given eventually made me go home every day feeling very successful. And even now to where I'm, in a management position, I don't really get credited as much as I used to, because it used to be easier skill sets than it is now. It's a little bit harder to get credit for what you're doing whenever you're in a management position. But even then, even with that being said, I still feel very successful and rewarded every day when I go home. So it's definitely a type of career field where there's something tangible in front of you that you're doing, and it's a very easy way to feel great about what you do every day.
One good thing about this, coming in from starting as a teenager, 13 years old, every position that I held all the way through, I always looked at the next position. I always wanted to grow into that next position. I always wanted to achieve what that next level person is doing. And that's what makes manufacturing so attractive, because it's adapting every day. I'll tell you, anybody who says they've reached the pinnacle of manufacturing, I can tell you he's probably lying to you, because there's always room for growth. The industry grows, and you guys are our next generation to grow into the future of Industry 4.0, Internet of Things, additive manufacturing. These are the things that I hope that you guys get interested in.
Can I ask a question for Tim? Is there a minimum age that you can hire?
Yes, ma'am. Minimum age is 18 due to OSHA regulations as well. I can tell you 22 years ago, we might have violated that, but I think we were small enough that my dad kind of hid it from me. But in all fairness, though, I was mowing the yard. So, I kind of got away with it a little bit, but yeah, it is a hard 18. Thank you.
So we've got a question from Nathan Sparks, and appreciate your engagement, Nathan. What attracted Crystal, Matt, and Matt to a career in manufacturing, and what's been the most surprising thing to you about working in manufacturing?
Okay, I will try to answer this one. I can say for myself, my grandfather flew trainers, I want to say a T-38, for maybe 30 years. And this was kind of a way for me to do something kind of like he did, but not have to fly in an airplane, because I wouldn't have been able to do that. So it's kind of like taking what he did and kind of going my own way. And now I get to see planes fly overhead and know that I got to make something that went into that, which is pretty cool. Most surprising, I guess, just with all the different parts that we make and all the different things we do, it's always like a different challenge. It isn't like you come in one day and you're like, oh, I'm bored. It's like there's a new part on my desk and I have to figure out how are we going to be able to check it? How are we going to be able to make it? So I guess that's been kind of more fun, I guess, than I thought this job would be, if that makes sense. Crystal?
Okay, so I'm being totally honest. I was in the insurance industry, and my husband's been here for 20 years. It necessarily wasn't in manufacturing I was interested in, because I really didn't know I was getting myself into, but it was the family that owns Fort Walton Machining. I knew who my husband worked for, and I thought I wanted to work for a good company. So with that being said, honestly, just manufacturing wasn't my focus. However, the most surprising thing I think is you see these nuts and bolts and these little parts, and to me, it's still mind-boggling how much goes into making such a, to me, simple-minded little part. Like, I mean, it could be hours on the machine and hours of programming, and it's just, I think that surprised me the most.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't really know much about the Fort Walton Machining team before I started, although now I'm very grateful for it, as Crystal is, and then also to what Matt was saying, to see an airplane flying overhead of you, the C-130s that go by every day, and the F-16s. I've always been around that. My father was in the Air Force, and so I've always had an interest in mil-spec parts and airplanes and stuff like that. And then on top of that, I was kind of my own fabricator. I used to build and race cars whenever I was in my early 20s. And so whenever I was given the opportunity to learn more about manufacturing and sheet metal working and manual mill working, I was very enthused, and I'm very glad I did it, because I couldn't really enjoy what I do more. Even whenever I see a part that's just on paper and I don't even know if I'm going to be the one making it or not, it still kind of excites me to think of how we're going to make this part, how we're going to make it the best product in the most efficient way. So it stays interesting every day, and it's an ever evolving industry as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's a great question. Here's an interesting one. What was your company's first manufactured product?
That's a tough one for me because we're not the original founders. However, just to kind of put it in perspective, the Armament Museum outside the gate of Eglin Air Force Base, everybody probably knows the SR-71 Blackbird is right out front as kind of the showpiece with the C-130. There are little plates that the wheels are sitting on that keep the airplane in stationary. Those plates were built right here at Fort Walton Machining. So that's kind of an old memory I have. I will also go to another story. When I first started in the machine shop, and they actually let me touch a part, I scrapped it. Scrapping means I ruined it, throw it away, wasted $500. So that's a memory that sticks with me as well. But the very, very first product, I really couldn't tell you.
Great. Those are good stories, though. Okay, so would you rather have an engineer who already has the degree, or have them come to work and then go to school, or apprenticeship programs?
That's a great question. You could go either way. I can tell you that myself as a degree mechanical engineer, I benefited a lot from having a manufacturing background before I went to college. As a matter of fact, we had a little machine shop. I graduated from the University of South Alabama in 2007. At Mobile, they had a little machine shop. Actually helped kind of rejuvenate the machine shop, and it deteriorated quite a bit. But I would also tell you that being an engineer and designing for manufacturability is also kind of a gap that we have right now in the industry. People will design stuff that have really no concept or no experience actually building it, okay? But then I'll go the other way. Engineering, if you get an engineering degree, then you go into a manufacturing career. They actually two tie together very, very closely. And then you can work with the machinist, you can work with the engineers, and they can collaborate back and forth to make a part safer, more accurate, more precise, and ultimately for our customers' sake, more cost effective.
Great, thank you. I'm going to combine a couple questions here. One is, do you have assembly positions, and how often do you hire?
Do we have assembly open positions?
Like right now.
Yeah, I think, do you have assembly positions, and do you have open assembly positions? And how often do you hire?
We'll have open ones, but we have.
We have in the past. Currently, we don't have any open positions. Obviously, COVID has kind of reduced our workload right now. We're seeing that we're coming out of that slump right now. But as we have new positions, Ms. D, our HR manager, will post those LinkedIn, on our website in multiple different fashions. In fact, Dee, why don't you mention some of the things that we do when we have open positions and how we advertise those out to the community.
So when we have an open position, we have a recruiting site that we place the ad on, and it goes to 50 other sites like Indeed, Monster, all the ones you know about. So anytime we have an open position, they will be there. Also, you could go to our website, which is fwmachining.com, and you can see the job posting there. You can also stop by our facility at 43 Jet Drive or give us a phone call. We're open to take your calls or your emails or anything you want. We love to go out in the community and help students. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. And we hope that we see you in the future with an application and a resume.
Mind you, everybody in this room that works here for Walton Machining, except maybe Dee, graduated right here in Okaloosa County.
We graduated in Okaloosa County.
You did?
Go Choctaw!
Eagles.
Vikings.
It's a great school system. So here's one actually that maybe April can help with as well. How does a company work with the local school system to help them determine what certifications and skill sets entry-level positions will require?
Well, one of the things we do is we have different industries on our CT advisory committee, and we have to partner with industry to determine what we are offering in our schools. So knowing that football machining is local, we have D as part of our advisory committee, and she gives us information as to what they're looking for, what jobs are available. And we also are partners with the EDC and the Techman organization. So we go to the meetings and we get to hear from industry exactly what industry needs. And our goal is to take what industry needs and bring it back to the classroom and teach our kids, because we have to prepare our students to go into the workforce. While we do promote students going to college, we also know that not everyone's going to college. And so we want to make sure that we're providing them the skills that they can walk out of our classrooms and get a job with the skills that they've earned in our classrooms. And with our manufacturing academy, one of the things we're very happy with and very proud of is that our students are earning their certified production technology or technician certification through MSSC, as well as a SolidWorks. While they may not be able to go directly into a milling position or a position on the line here at Footwalk Machining, it does give them a really good background of a starting out entry-level position. So we're very thankful for Footwalk Machining's partnership with us, because we do get information from them. They have to tell us what they need us to do, and we need to follow through with their needs.
Let me follow on with a plug for our local economic development council and our Techman committee. We meet once a month, and those committees and collaborating with academia has been absolutely critical, not only from the manufacturing skill sets, from the engineering skill sets, test sets, skill sets. So those organizations, like Nathan Sparks and Linda Sumlin, they're absolutely avid proponents of manufacturing and the collaboration between academia and industry.
And I'd like to thank April and Tim and Dee. That program in Okaloosa County, the CTE program, and the success you've had with SolidWorks, and I've worked with Michael Imai and David Johnson and April. It's one of the best programs in the country. The success you've had with SolidWorks, which is difficult, is astounding. So, congratulations to you on that.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Okay, so do you have?
We have a lot of, I'm sorry, Paul, but I want to put a plug in for our middle school program. We've had about 30 kids in the middle school pass their SolidWorks certification. So that's pretty amazing to be an 8th grader and pass that certification. Right. And as many or more than that in the high school level, much more than that at the high school level. But, for an 8th grader to come in and take that certification, that speaks volumes of the program.
It is astounding success, so thank you. Okay, so back to questions. Do you have internships or job shadowing programs?
We have an apprenticeship program and the certified apprenticeship program through Northwest Florida State College. And then we have our internal apprenticeship program, which all 3 of these fine folks have went through in some form or fashion. We develop multiple skill sets, and you don't necessarily come into the apprentice program need to be a machinist. You don't need to be an inspector. You can work in purchasing, you can work in shipping, you can work in planning, engineering planning, contract review. So multiple different disciplines, and it's really going to depend on what skill sets that you show us or what passions you have. I've seen guys that went through the apprenticeship program, started as a machinist, and said, you know what, I'd rather work in inspection. I like it in there. I like that type of work. So it's very, very important. And we do have internships. Matt has an intern right now working on his CMM lab that is also earning his mechanical engineering degree at University of West Florida.
Correct.
So very, very important, and we welcome anybody. Like I said, you have to be 18, and you got to show me that spark. That's what I'm looking for.
Awesome. Do you train in Lean and Six Sigma?
Absolutely, every day. We train and we practice it. We have a full Six Sigma Lean program, a documented Lean program that really is a sub byproduct of our aerospace accreditations, which we have to be able to build parts for Boeing and Lockheed and Northrop Grumman.
Great. All right. Is there an active safety committee at Fort Walton Machining? Is it made up of employees?
Yes, we have an active safety committee who meet once a quarter. And these folks and all my employees will tell you that I take safety as the #1 goal of our facility. My job is to provide a safe working environment every day. A lot of the things that we do here can cause injuries. We've seen it. We're lucky. We haven't had many. We haven't had one in over 2.5 years at the manufacturing facility, and 10 years over at our metal finishing facility. Yeah, knock on wood. But it's absolutely critical. It doesn't matter. The product doesn't matter. If we cannot do the job in a safe environment, we stop. We'll do safety stand-downs. If we see something going wrong, we have a full-time safety coordinator that does all of the safety training, whether it's quarterly, annually, semi-annually, a one-time training. So yes, we take safety very, very important. That safety committee comprises of a champion, which is not the safety coordinator, it's somebody on the floor. And everybody on the safety committee is a volunteer. But also on the safety committee is top-level management from CEO, myself, Director of Operations, and our VP of Manufacturing.
Great. All right. How long does it take to go from part design to a prototype?
That is really a wide open question. It depends on the complexity of the part and then what kind of testing requirements. Currently, we've been working on a particular project here for Eglin Air Force Base that started about 2.5 years ago with 8 particular prototypes. After those 8, we built another 5. After that 5, we went into 22 or 228 units. Currently, we're on our second contract, which is over 500 units. So that has been about a 2.5-3 year time span. But it could be as quick as a couple weeks. It really just depends on what the customer's requirements are.
All right. How valuable is diversity in manufacturing?
I'm gonna let Dee take that question.
Diversity is very important in manufacturing and anywhere in our communities these days. It's very difficult to have diversity in the machining, not because we don't want to have it. We don't get a lot of people applying that are from diverse. We have a pretty good many Asian people that work here. We have a lot of females, males.
Disabled. Yeah, we had at one point, it doesn't no longer works here. We had a hearing impaired gentleman that was working in our shipping and receiving department, and he worked out fine. I can tell you diversity from a gender is standpoint, women in the manufacturing career tends to be a stigma. And I try very, very hard to break that stigma. I always tell a lot of people, one of my biggest mentors and one of the best machinists I ever trained from was a female. So it really doesn't matter what your gender, your race. It doesn't. It's manufacturing. It's not biased. So we implore that anybody, please come see us at 43 Jet Drive, and we'll be happy to sit down and talk with you and tell you what we have to offer and see what you can offer us.
Great. We'll do one more quick question, and then we'll try to answer the other questions offline. So the last question is, how important is it for manufacturers to engage with the community, and how do you engage?
Repeat that question, Paul. I'm sorry.
How important is it for manufacturers to engage with the community, and how does Fort Walton Machining engage?
we believe it's very important for us to engage in the community so we know what needs are out there. Like April mentioned, we're on the advisory committee with the CTE program. We're also on the Northwest Florida Manufacturers Council. We're members of the Economic Development Council and also TechMen. We welcome students from any school to come in. We will go to schools and talk to students about what we do here. So we are very open to community outreach.
Yep. And for me, more especially reaching the young men and women that are on this virtual shop tour is very, very important to me because you guys are my next generation of employees. You're the next leading edge of technology. Eventually, I'm getting older, and I'm somebody who needs to replace me, and I'm always looking for somebody, you know, from all walks of life, and the students, especially because you guys are my next evolution. So, thank you.
Hey, Paul, can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I do want to mention that we are a Florida State of Florida approved apprenticeship program here. And in conjunction with that, if you decide you want to go that route, we will help you go to school at Northwest Florida State College in conjunction with working. So when you finish that, you can come out with a machinist certification, or you can come out with a associate's in engineering technology, which you can go on from there to be whatever you would like to be. But that's just an option for you. And we work out the cost for the college with the college and Career Source to get funding for you. So we hope that some of you will take advantage of that.
That's amazing. I want to thank you all. I know Okaloosa County and Northwest Florida are really proud to have all the Sterling Award nominees and winners, you know, representing them. But you know, we're grateful for the work that you do with the community, with the council. And just want to say thank you again.
Thank you for your leadership, Paul.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.